Hello everyone, thank you for having me. My name is Yandra Rahadian Perdana, and I'm going to be speaking to you today about adoption of enterprise resource planning in Indonesia manufacturing companies. First of all, the essence of ERP adoption is the management of resources through bundling, such as data, information, and knowledge, to create valuable decision for user or customer. ERP as an information system facilitate the exchange of data and information that is connected to modules, for example, human resource, finance, and logistic and supply chain management. Each module has a specific function, so the more modules that are adopted, the adopting organization gains a clearer and more complete picture of the desired process. This means that the level of ERP adoption can be identified based on the number of modules used. However, there are shortcomings in research investigating the level of ERP adoption based on the number of modules. Therefore, this study aims to examine the adoption rate based on the model use. Most researchers paid attention to the driver or antecedent and consequence of ERP adoption, but neglected the level of the ERP module adoption. They could not explain the level of adoption in detail. Grounded in resource-based view, the adoption of ERP module can be viewed as the possession of resources, namely information system, which are organizational capital to use to compete with. Information system is a part of the valuable, rare, imperfectly imitable, and non-substitutable resources, which are useful to organization for operational support and increasing productivity. Conceptually, ERP has five modules. The more of the complete module that are used, the higher the adoption level is. Hence, this research assumes that the more complete the ERP model adoption is, the more help the organization has in gaining a competitive advantage. Using the resource-based view perspective, this research offers an answer to the lack of literature discussing the level of adoption based on the number of ERP modules. In the research, the level of ERP adoption is measured based on the number of modules used, namely production material needs management, financial management, human resource management, supply chain management, and lastly, customer relationship management. The data were collected by sending an electronic mail. The respondents were selected based on the international standard industrial classification using Indonesian statistics. The sample obtained for this research consists of 155 respondents selected from the 2,261 questionnaire sent out. So the response rate was 6.9%. The answer from each respondent was categorized into two levels of adoption. The companies that adopted 1 to 4 module were categorized as partial adopters, while companies that adopted 5 modules were considered to be full adopters. This research found that 39 or 25% companies had fully adopted the RP modules. 24 companies had adopted 4 modules. 29 companies adopted 3 modules. 26 companies used 2 modules, and for the last 37 companies used 1 module. Accordingly, the dominant choice is to partial adopt the technology or ERP. Referring to the finding, I argue that the level of ERP adoption by Indonesian manufacturing company is not that extensive. The majority of them are partial adopter. Accordingly, Indonesia as a developing country has weak system integration as shown by the manufacturing company. Developing countries are characterized by the uncertainty of their government support, weak technology infrastructure, low trust, culture, and organizational commitment, which make ERP adoption difficult. In practical terms, the ERP adoption are easier for organizations to fulfill in developed countries. Therefore, it can be assumed that behavioral factors are the keys to adopting ERP in Indonesia. For the conclusion, this research aimed to identify the level of ERP adoption based on the number of modules used by manufacturing companies in Indonesia. The argument for this objective that the level of ERP adoption is not limited to the implementation of a single module, which need to be described in detail. The, the detail about the number of ERP module adopted have been neglected by previous researchers. This research argues that the more complete the implementation of the ERP module is, the more integrated the supply chain system is. This research shows that the ERP has only partially adopted by 116 companies. The rest have fully adopted it. This is contrast to the supply chain viewpoint, which underline the importance of integrating the flow of data, information, and decision between the internal and external organization. For the future research, the benefit of fully integration the benefit of fully integrated ERP is that it will minimize the limitation in organizational decision making, such as planning, implementation, and supply chain control. However, there is an important note for ERP adoption, namely the available of resources and the full support of the management. Organizational factors such as the management commitment, the availability of ICT infrastructure, financial support, and the culture may be a reason for the low adoption of ERP in fully integrated Indonesia. Therefore, further research can explore in more deep the cause of the low adoption rate of ERP module in Indonesia. If there are any questions, please email me. Thank you.